everybody, this is Anna with Adventures with Anna. Welcome back to my craft room. I'm so glad that you guys are able to join me tonight. I have a couple of finished projects, and I have a project that isn't finished, but like I have to have everything finished, right? Okay, so let's do finished projects first, because I think they look pretty cool. Now the first one that I have to show you, I have two stocking hats that are done. It's the two that I've been working on. The first one I'm going to show you is the one that I used this yarn on. This is I love this yarn, and I think it's called Springtime Gardens or something like that. I don't have the ball band handy, and I don't remember what I did with it, to be honest with you, because it's not in the bag. So it's Springtime something or something like that. Now I have knitted with this. I have crocheted with it. I knitted a stocking hat, which that's what I'm getting ready to show you. I have crocheted a granny square with this, and I have also done a Tunisian crochet hat with this. So let me get those other two items, and we will compare how the pattern looks in three different types of crafting. And while I was grabbing those other two items, I found the ball band. Here it is. I love this yarn, and this was gifted to me from Ella, no catchy name, here a while back. And the color actually is Spring Willow. I was close. I said Springtime something, but it's Spring Willow. And I think the yarn looks ugly. And honestly, if I were to go shopping, I would not pick this yarn up off the shelf because I think it's ugly. The last two projects that I have made, which was the Tunisian hat was the first one. The second one I made was that granny square for my scrap granny Afghan. And then, of course, the stocking hat that I just finished. I always have called this the monster yarn because I thought it was ugly. My personal opinion. So, like I said, the first one that I did was this Tunisian crochet hat. And I used a lighter green for the return stitch. The Spring Willow is actually the vertical bars that you see. That's not too bad. But quite honestly, I don't like it. The second one that I did was a large granny square for my scrap granny blanket, which obviously I'm still working on that. That was a Yarn Joy podcast crochet along back in January, I think, of this year. But this is how that came out with just regular crochet doing a granny square. It's not bad, but I think it's ugly. I don't really like it. Fast forward to finishing this hat, because I've said since the beginning I want to crochet, or not crochet, I did that. I want to knit a hat with this just to see what it would look like when it was knitted. So, here we go. Not bad at all. I love, except for the top, where I did my decreasing, and I will tell you a little bit about that here in just a minute. But this part of the hat, I absolutely love the way that patterning went. It kind of reminds me of a snake with the right here like a little garter snake or something. I don't know about the purple and the red, but this reminds me of a garter snake. I don't know why. But two things with this hat. Number one, I love, and this, by the way, I have the ends all sewn in. This is ready to go. But the first thing is that I want to point out is I love the way the bottom of this hat is. My cast on. If you notice, it looks a little different than usual. Let me hold it up this way for you. It looks really clean and finished. Instead of doing a long tail cast on or whatever normal cast ons knitters normally do, there's only one that I do, and it's a long tail, since I've learned how to do that. I actually did a crochet cast on, which, if you're not familiar with that, you take a crochet hook that is compatible to your needle size, and you just do a single crochet on your needle, and you know, all the way across. I like the way that turned out. I think I will do that from now on with my stocking hats that I knit, because to me it looks very clean and finished. Now the story about the top, normally if you remember when I do stocking hats that are striped, I try to keep them where they don't reverse back and do weird things at the top like this one did. Well, I actually finished this off with DPNs. I know, right? Totally scary. But I did it. And this is much bigger than all the other ones that I make. It is like huge on me. Much, much bigger. This is the way they fit on foam head, right? But anyway, I actually completely followed the Ross pattern. I like this hat. I like that striping. But anyway, I actually completely followed the Ross pattern, and I actually printed off his patterns, which they are free on his website, Smells Like Yarn. Let me hold this up there. So, it's called the Ross hat, or the Ross pattern. And right down here at the bottom, you can see smellslikeyarn.com. And that's his YouTube channel, Smells Like Yarn. I finally printed them off. I've just been, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, but I finally printed them off because he has instructions for bulky weight, lightweight, and medium weight, and super fine weight, all on his website, completely free. And this is the one that I always mention because this is the one that I learned how to knit a stocking hat with. So, that one's done. And I also had one on my smaller needles that I got. And I just finished this up right before I made this video because I wanted to get it done. I was so close. I was 2 rows from being it done. Or for getting it. I was 2 rows from getting it done. But life happened and I got interrupted too much today. This one also has a couple of stories. First story is, obviously it was knitted on size 5 needles. Because this is a Caron Cupcake yarn. And I think I do have a band for this one. It's in the bag. It is in the bag. And I don't know which pom-pom was supposed to go for this, but I probably won't put one on. There's a Caron Cupcake. And this is a colorway Fruit Punch. That'll focus for you guys. And this is what I have left. There's probably enough there to make another hat, or almost make another hat. These are, how many? 3 ounces. I don't know, I didn't weigh that. I don't know how much it takes. But anyway, this one is not completely finished off. It still has the tails and everything. But this one I did the long tail cast on with. And honestly, I think that looks messy. See how that looks loosey-goosey compared to this? Let me fold this one up and get the tail out of the way. See how the different cast-ons look? This is a crocheted cast-on, and this is a long tail cast-on. Now, I don't know if everybody has the same problems as I do with long tail, but I love the way this one looks. So from now on, that is how I'm going to do my knit hats, is the crochet cast on. Now, back to the stories on this one. I had to ask for help twice with this hat. Number one, because I knew I wanted to finish it off with DPNs following Ross's pattern. And I wasn't sure when I actually stopped. I measured my hat before I got started with my decrease, and it was like 6 1/4 inches. And he says to stop at 6 inches, and then it's like decrease a row, knit a row, decrease a row until you have 8 loops, I think, in between, and then you decrease every row until you have, well, the big hat was 4, this one was 3, and then you just, finish it off. Well, number one, I do not have DPNs that are a size 5, which is the size knitting needle that I used. So I asked for help. One of my friends here locally had a set of DPNs that she let me borrow. I like these. Thank you for letting me borrow those. And then, let me see if I can find it. I probably can't because I've kind of stretched it out. But it might be right there. I was going along and I forgot to count my stitches. Yeah, it's right in here. But like I said, I've stretched it out so it's not quite so totally obvious. Let's see. It's right in here somewhere, I think. I'm not positive because I don't remember exactly where it was. Like I said, I've stretched it out. But I was going along and I noticed that I had dropped a stitch because I wasn't counting. Now I'll insert a picture here so you guys can see the dropped stitch and how far up I was. But I was like 6 rows above that drop stitch and I was like, what do I do? I know I've done it before with a couple rows, but never that far. And by the time it got up that far, it's like, well, you know, they forgot that their buddy was lost and they just kind of went together and I didn't know what to do. So I was just going to pull it up a couple of rows and then tie it with my finishing yarn after I finished off the hat. Well, the same friend that loaned me these was like, no, you can pull it up. And I'm like, but it doesn't look like it'll go. And she says, it'll be just fine. Once you finish it up and stretch it out and, you know, wash it a couple times, it'll all work out in the end. You know, I think she's right because, no, I don't think she's right. I know she's right because honestly, I can't even find it anymore. Like I said, I've done a little stretching on it. Oh, there it is, right there. See how tiny that row looks right in there? I'm pretty sure that's where it was at. Somewhere right in here. I know, it's kind of hard to tell. But you know what? Nobody's going to know because it's not that obvious. I don't have any holes. I successfully finished that off. I learned something and I was able to practice on something that I already knew, and I was able to work on something that I probably should be doing anyway. It wasn't near as bad as I thought it would be. Alright, enough rambling. This is getting long enough as it is. But for those of you that want to know, I have worked on this just a little bit. I can't work on it on the weekends because I don't have enough uninterrupted thinking time. But this is what I got so far. My unicorn looks like Nevada. Doesn't that look like the state of Nevada? That's what I got done. I did all that in one day with minimal interruptions. So I'm liking that. I like the way that looks on this background. And I'm hoping to be able to work a little bit farther along the first part of this week. So hopefully I can get it done. And I got some ideas for it. I can't wait. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys today. I don't have any new, and I still haven't done anything with this. It's still sitting here. But I haven't started anything new. The only things that I have left that are pending, 2 items. I have my scrap granny blanket to put together. And I have, oh, it's over there somewhere. It might be in a, I don't know where it's at. And I have the Tunisian scarf that I am using the Bernat velvet with. Those are the only 2 projects that I have not finished. I think it's time to start some more, don't you think? Anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me here in the craft room. I hope you enjoyed seeing that I have been able to work on this past weekend, and I hope you will join me right back here in the craft room for my next video.